positive and negative electric. That is electricity arcing out onto a steel ball down below. That's, well, some type of metal ball, I'm assuming steel. But whatever it is, it's going to be glowing white hot, and its spirit has been elevated into the sky. So there is heat above and below.
Okay.
Because Eve below, that's conduction. The sun is an Adam and Eve technology. They all are, well, as far as we know they are. But yeah, it's a male-female relationship going on.
Yes, yin and yang.
That's them.
Does the sun energize the moon during an eclipse of the sun? Sort
That's
of.
a good question. Does the sun energize the moon during an eclipse? Well, the moon's currently in a return back east state when we're not seeing it. Saying that, it can go west as well as east, depending on its cycle, of course. But does it energize it? That's a good question. The moon, from what I can make out, any energy the sun isn't using, the moon gets. Because, like, at night time, I think it was mentioned in the Book of Enoch, the sun gives part of its light to the moon. So that's telling me the moon gets some energy for when the sun's not using it. It's not actually physically transferred into it. It can use the energy from the ether that the sun would
Yeah.
normally be using. So you look at the sun, look at the moon during the day. You don't see it illuminated like you do at night. So it is self-illuminating at night. They all self-illuminate. Yeah, but does it charge it? I don't know. Because we don't know the process of what the moon's actually doing yet. People say it's just for tidal, blah blah blah, but they can all shift the tides and waters. Plus the halos that are stationary are doing that. Yeah, good question, and not something I can answer immediately. But
Well,
from Walter Russell's work, the sun is a generator, and the rest of them are regenerators, like backing the sun up. So the sun is king. There's obviously a pecking order. That's why it's called a king. The sun is king, and the rest fall in order below that. But that also applies to the layers that they're operating in. These are your 7 golden candlesticks. 7 planets. There's
yes,
not
one of
9.
them.
There's not 9. There's 7. And the Antikythera mechanism, you'll see all 7 on there. So our ancestors had this well worked out thousands of years ago,
Mm.
and enough to map it onto a hand crank computer called the Antikythera mechanism. It's an
Which
amazing,
blows every
yeah,
mind.
it's an amazing piece of technology. Way out of time, it's out of place in time from 2,000 years ago, and it's hand crank mechanical computer that can plot the movement of all these luminaries, past, present, and future cycles.
I'm sure many of us civilizations or whatever you want to call them, in our communities around the earth must have had these calendars of sorts.
Oh yes, yeah, yeah. We had calendars probably for every luminary that exists,
Yeah,
and ones
and
we
there's
and don't forget there's ones we probably haven't even seen yet, like Halley's Comet pops up every 76 years. That's just something on a halo going past. That the rotation's that slow. We're not going to see it for another 76 years when the rotation comes back again.
and also all these landmarks, like the Celtic and cairns and things could be markers for angels. I get that, but there's also these places where that you're observing the luminaries as such, like the solstice or whatever. Especially in Ireland, there's those, and there were many more, I'm sure, that were acting as calendars. The land had,
Oh
had its
yeah,
points
yeah.
to
Not just
mark out.
calendars, not just calendars, because that's where they'll be teaching you as well. All the younger generations have to learn all this. They'll be taking them to these places at certain times of year to teach them and show them.
Yes,
So they were
yes.
schooling, they were being schooled on this to a really good standard as well, by the look of it.
Oh, highly intelligent,
Oh yeah,
capable.
yeah.
But,
We can only at the moment we can only dream of what they knew 2,000 years ago.
yeah, unfortunately, we've had generational poisoning, and not just, of what's being told to us, but our bodies and spirits are being poisoned daily. So yeah, we're certainly not working how we should do, and our
Yeah.
ancestors were. Is my take on it.
Yeah, yeah. The different way of living in those days to what we've got now. What we've got now is an entity trying to suppress us and put its boot on our necks and keep us down and dumb, and they just want rid of us. To be honest, that's what they like. That's what we're at today. These people just want rid of us now. They
Yeah.
want this to themselves. They've got what they want. They used us all to get what they want. Now they've got it. They want rid of us, and that's what I'm seeing. They're trying to get rid of as many as possible before this reset because they don't want you to see this reset, which is becoming evident more and more.
Well, they're hiding the skies a lot now, aren't they, at the moment?
Yeah,
Mm.
yeah. There's these halos that you see. There's a halo above every rainbow, a stationary halo. These are what people are calling the lunar waves, the halos. They're off the technology below. That's below the rainbows. That's the atom in the sky that they're seeing. That's what's being recorded when the moon passes. So we're going to see all them one day. These are the Hoppy prophecy spider webs in the sky. When they all overlap, they're going to look like spider webs. That's because you're just actually seeing them. This is Revelations.
Yes.
This is what Revelations is. All will be revealed in the end times. It's the end of a cycle, and we're starting to see it. And this cycle is taking us into a mini ice age that these people are trying to call global warming. No, they're trying to artificially warm it so it hides most of this. Because ice crystals and water droplets help us see electromagnetics, I've discovered.
And that's where all these halo pictures were so successful over the last few years. I've yet to see one, but many have. They're on the videos.
Yeah, you'll see one. They just
I
peekaboo you, and then you won't see them for a while.
I know the moon halo. I've seen the moon halo. I know where I can capture that, but the sun yet to reveal itself.
Well, it took
And
me a
as
while
you said,
to. It did take me a while to get the moon halo on, and it's a very big halo, very
mm,
very big. But only because it's in a it's operating in a layer lower than the sun, so it is closer to us than the sun in the layers that
and
it's
it's
operating in.
also we had that discussion before. I'll just touch on that while we're talking about it. But the layers above and the sun at the top layer, and then the moon, the nearest, to the Earth
Hmm.
layer, and would that then reflect in the underworld? So would the sun be the bottom layer, and the moon nearer the Earth, again like the mirror
Well,
effect.
yeah, you have to wonder, what's below. As it layered below, it probably has to be layered to fit it all in. Different
Mm,
layers below and above. That makes sense, doesn't it? They've
it
all got
does
their own
indeed.
layers below and above because the diameter of the halo dictates the altitude the cone or the spiral from the angel is going to go into the sky.
Hmm.
So if you want it high
Hmm.
up, it's going to have to be a very wide diameter halo. They're the really big ones. They're the big rainbows that we come across. They're being elevated way high into the sky.
The Glastonbury one.
Yeah, that's another important one. That's part of um, the Milky Way decode. It's a world chakra. So it's an important one below there that's related to the chakras of the world, which is
The heart
these.
chakra.
Yeah, so it's the spiral of the spiral in pressure waves that's going across the map. It's I'm pretty sure it activates and deactivates things there, and they're used as waveguides. We're going to get deeper into the waveguides with Chris someday. So I'll keep that. I'll leave that till the next day. That explaining that one a bit more.
That's no worries. That's great. And going back to the moon, are the phases of the moon eclipses, types of eclipses, or are they something else?
Yeah, another good question. Because why is it doing it? Why does the moon have phases?
Yep.
It's a very good question, and some I haven't worked out yet why it has to do it. I could speculate, but I won't do that because I haven't really done a lot with the moon. I wanted to get the sun out the way first because that was the important one for the grid. because it gives us the
Yeah.
seasons, And I said in the seasons video, to do the moon and know how many gates it's actually using, we need to be at the equator facing east as close to the date lines as possible, or anywhere on the equator really, but preferably in the east, so we can see where it comes from and we can work out its sunrise angles and sets from there. Then we'll have an idea what the moon cycle's doing, because we haven't,
So boots on ground.
boots on the ground required for in the east for the moon cycles. Where's the moonrise angles? We could probably get them off time and date if you could pick somewhere near the equator. It does show you the moonrise angles for that location, which is this is how we worked out the sun one. The sun one was a bit harder because it's using 12 gates that I had to work out the sequence and cycle that would make sense, that creates this analemma orbit that we see, not the analemma of the sun, and also these gates functioning and working and changing the times, daylight hours and times. And it does work. It works perfect.
Yes. Everything's got its timing.
And we have to
So we looked at the,
we have to do that with the moon and then all the others as well. We have to do what the ancients did. They had calendars for it all, and we need to do the same, because what the
that's
calendar,
right.
their calendars work, but it's not giving us the full picture, is it?
No, that leads on to the other question of what type of expertise, or knowledge within astronomy would be advantageous to furthering the decode of the luminaries. So you need boots on ground. You need people observing from points on the Earth.
Boots on the ground and wings in the sky. Yeah, I don't know how much any of our team members are into astrology and how much they actually know, and there's a lot to learn just in the sky. Too many for me. I just know how it works. Anyone that's wanting to do anything else, well, that's by all means go ahead. So if anyone in the group or beyond wants to do more with the stars in this group, by all means help yourself. Join in and
Yeah,
show us what you've got, and you can tell tales on it or whatever comes into it.
yeah,
It does need discussed. All of these topics need discussed in depth, and so we understand better how it all works, and slots in with one another. We're just scratching
yeah.
the surfaces of all these topics to show people they exist. It's up to them and team members and anyone else that wants to join us just to go deeper down these topics to see what else is in there, because there will be other things we haven't discussed yet.
I'm wondering, how abstract we all are. Maybe, the tangible things like that is, that's going to give the most satisfaction, to people, because you can do the tail spin, head spin, sort of, who are we, where are we? But, who am I? And everybody needs to know that. I get that. But those tangible things, so, of going and doing the work, going looking, observing, witnessing, being part of,
Yeah, it's
connecting.
very satisfying. It is. It's nice to be involved in.
Well, yeah, I agree, and I've only, come in and
Found a star
involved
fort.
myself. Yeah. Well,
It
that's
happens.
meant to be.
It happens. Things like this are going to happen. People are going to find all kinds of things and have their own revelations. People are going to have revelations we haven't had yet, because they'll know something different, and something else will click for them that we don't even know anything about or we haven't seen yet. So
Exactly.
we look forward to your revelations, everyone else's revelations. What revelations are you having that we haven't had yet? Or it's actually cool to watch people discussing these in our Discord. It's exciting
Yeah.
to watch because I've been there. I know what it feels like, and that feeling never leaves you when you discover something. And people's going to discover a lot more than we have. We're just scratching surfaces and showing you, hey, look down here, there's a rabbit hole here, someone get in there quick. But only to a certain point, we've got to respect this. It's all fun and games and stuff and learning and that, but how far do we go is the question. How far should we go is the question, isn't it? And these people have overstepped the mark already.
Yeah, because creation has been turned to destruction, and it's just perverse. So